bidders. Good morning po. For today's private conference, I would like to inform the body that we have 4 prospective bidders who have expressed their interest in participating for this project. We have Indra Philippines Incorporated, Infinivan Incorporated, Livan Trade Corporation, and Sungil Philippines Corporation. For the bidders present here in the meeting room, may we introduce yourself po and the company you're representing. Thank you.
Hi, good morning po. I'm Adrian from Philippines Fiber Optic Cable Network. So hindi po siya nabanggit kanina pero we're interested po in this bid to know about the bid po. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Julian Yazon from PFOCN.
Good morning po, Mona Lisa Magno from PFOCN.
Good morning po, Catherine Bondoc from PFOCN.
Thank you so much po. For the bidders present online, may we introduce yourself po and state the company you are representing. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Joseph Nenray Peralta from Comclark.
Hi, I'm Ronnie from Indra Philippines, handling the public administration sector. Thank you.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm Ken Iglesias from AWIN Enterprise and Solutions Incorporated.
Good morning. I'm Menchi Sabalboro from Livan Trade Corporation.
Good morning. I'm Regine Filonco from Comclark. Hershey Sunga po from Comclark.
May we know po if there are companies pa po that haven't been mentioned?
Good morning. This is Jan po from Sungil Philippines po. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Cecil Garcia from Comclark.
Good morning po, Ken Samonte po from Comclark.
Good morning po. Beng Manahan from Radius Telecoms.
Joseph Eugenio po from Sungil Philippines Corporation. Good morning.
Roderick Filipinas po from Sungil Philippines Corporation. Good morning po.
Hello, good morning. This is Mon Campos from Infinivan.
Okay po, so seems everyone is already introduced themselves po. We would like to acknowledge the presence of SBAC member Yusek Rodil M. Aniban who are present here in the meeting room po. Good morning po, sir. So to proceed po with the permission of our chairperson, we will now proceed with the presentation of the project. May I call on the Senior Procurement Specialist for the PDIP project, Mr. Allison Galician. Good morning, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jen. So, thank you for the SBAC and of course our prospective bidders for attending this. So, we'll be covering the pre-bid conference, and this slide shows our agenda or what we'll go through for this day. Of course, questions or clarifications are welcome, and after the presentation, and Next slide. Let's start with the purpose and conduct of this conference. What this meeting is. So it's a forum to clarify the requirement, scope, and evaluation of this procurement, and it's open to all prospective bidders. Proceedings are recorded as mentioned earlier. The minutes are prepared within 5 calendars and made available by written request. What it is not, of course, it's nothing said orally today changes the bidding document. Statements made at this conference are not binding on the procuring entity. Only a supplemental bid bulletin signed by the Bids and Awards Committee Chairperson amends the documents. So, how to raise a question. So, I'll go through the dates later. But how to raise a question, it's within 10 calendar days before the deadline of submission of bid. So, we'd appreciate it earlier if you can. But of course, this would be our hard deadline. The numbers are there, and of course, the email address is there as well. And for those of you that have attended pre-bid conference from before, attendance is not compulsory, but the record is. Non-attendance does not disqualify the bidder. However, all supplemental bid bulletins issued after this conference form part of the bidding documents and are binding on every bidder, whether they attended or not. So you have to acknowledge this in your bid form when you do submit your bids. So please keep yourselves posted by looking at our website, the ICT, and of course, MJEPS, until the deadline, as bulletins may be issued up to 7 calendar days before the bid submission. Next slide, please. So this is the package at a glance. So this is the estimated project cost, inclusive of all taxes. So it's 308,320,000 pesos. The contract time or implementation time would be 365 calendar days or a year. Award criterion is something familiar, I believe, for all that are attending. It's lowest calculated and responsive bid. And these would be, of course, the technical aspects of our project. So that's 37 sites, 37 telecom shelters, so 37 sites. Cable entrance facilities would be for 35 sites and covers 9 regions. For those of you that attended our early market engagement, it was talked about there on how the procurement for this particular project would be packaged. So there would be a separate goods contract. So it's stated in the SEC or the special conditions of the bidding documents, the current bidding documents, as well as section 6, number 6, 1 to 6 of the technical specifications if you want to browse through what the interface between the goods and works vendors would be. All right. So the scope of work entails 4 phases. So it starts with design. It includes site surveys, validation, and inspection with DICT and NGCP. Detailed engineering design signed and sealed by the engineer, the civil and structural engineers. Submission within 50 calendar days of the NTP is our requirement for this particular portion. So the DICT NBP PMT is the final approver. Now we go to permitting. All permits and clearances and fees are the contractor's role, so sole responsibility. DPWH, NGA, LGUs, and other authorities are secured in the name of DICT. So the permits, of course, would include these particular requirements. The DICT issues gate passes except at NGCP sites, which shall be discussed further once, if ever, you're the contracted party. Construction, site preparation includes all these, no? So you can read through it. It's RC pedestals, footings, PU panel, shelter erection, AC power feeder from the NGC tapping, DC plant, EMS, ACUs, FDA, CCTV, grounding, cable management. And for cable entrance facilities, ducts, manholes, handholds, riser poles, microduct, and fiber works. So the requirements here are fleshed out in technical specifications of the bidding documents. And finally, it's testing and acceptance. So it includes pre-commissioning, functional and operational testing across installed infrastructure, methods of the procedure of calibration, certificates submitted at least 7 calendar days before joint inspection, and of course ends with their final acceptance and completion certificate, and of course starts the warranty. So these are the design and durability parameters as stated in section 6. So it's just a rough of these design and durability parameters. So includes seismic intensity 8, wind speeds up to 300 kilometers, NCSP 2015 and ACI standards, Philippine Electrical Code and IEC, the concrete, the 27 million pascals, right, engineer? So that's at 4,000 PSI. At 28 days, grade 60 reinforcement, ground resistance is less than 5 ohms, and the ITU-TG625B 96 core mini FOC technical specifications. So the structure of the bidding documents is very much similar to what you're used to. So it's an invitation to bid. So it states here all the headline items, dates, venue, the contacts. Then you have the instruction to bidders. So it's an iteration of what's in the IRR and what has been harmonized with the World Bank regulations. Then you have the bid data sheet, the project-specific amendments, and would prevail over the ITB. Then you have a general condition of contract, standard contract terms, and you have the special conditions of contract. That prevails over the GCC. Then you have the specifications, as I've briefly gone through. And Section 7 would have the drawings. And Section 8 would be the high-level bill of quantities where we expect our bidders to fill these out as part of their financial bid. Then finally, the PBD-related forms. So that's the bid form, BSD form, OSS, and contract agreement. So hopefully, most of you are familiar with this, but of course, there are changes or there are harmonized portions which we'll be trying to highlight as we go through specific sections of the document. Next slide, please. So these are the key dates. So this has been published as of August 8th. Our pre-bid conference is today. So we're doing this now. And the last day to submit requests for clarifications will be August 22 at 4 p.m. However, we prefer to receive your clarifications in writing much earlier, so we could actually address this much faster through a supplemental bid bulletin, because it might, affect whatever your bid is, and of course, what our requirements are. Lastly, the last supplemental bid bulletin would be August 25, and our deadline for submission would be, and bid opening would be September 1. So reminder, the bid validity and the bid security declaration shall be 90 days from bid opening. So this is tracked on to November 30 as of the current schedule. Next slide. So who may bid? So let's go through this very quickly. So legal and licensing, oops. So we have PhilJEPs as part of the requirement. So a platinum membership. So that includes a valid PCAB license. It's category AA, size range large A, classification for specialty communication facilities, SPCF. Foreign bidders may bid on a special PCAB license and submit it as a precondition of award. Then for single largest and completed contract, that's 50% of the estimated project cost, or 154,160,000, and should be an evidence given would be the owner's certificate of completion and measured against the EPC and not the EBC. Now for financial capacity, this is a bit new. So those of you that have joined bids that use RA 12009 or 9184 before, NFCC was used for this one, it's still average annual turnover from all works over the last 3 years of the last 100% of the EPC. So that's 308,320,000. So now for joint ventures, it's also stated on our bid document. So one partner must meet 50% of the EPC and 100% for turnover. And the remaining partners, 25% and 50% respectively. And of course, if you have been through a joint venture agreement or corporation, so all partners are jointly and severally liable. Now, subcontracting is allowed up to 50% of the contract price and allowed for one subcontractor only, who must meet the same eligibility criteria as set forth in our bidding document. So it's there under the GCC. So What similar means for this package is stated in BDS or bid data sheet 5.4, design and supply and installation of ICT network telecommunications infrastructure, including deployment of underground or aerial fiber optic cable and installation of HDPE conduits or microducts. So these are the key personnel that have been identified in our bidding documents. So you have the project manager, their number, and their minimum qualifications are set forth in the bidding documents. So you can browse through that. But this is more or less a snapshot of what's in the bidding documents. And of course, minimum major equipment owned, leased, or under purchase agreement with proof of ownership or a certificate of availability for the contract duration. So that's an optical time domain reflectometer, optical power meter or light source, fiber fusion splicer, cable air blowing machine, and construction plant per approved design. And just a reminder, please don't underfill your key personnel. Because after award, prior to written approval, unapproved substitution is a ground for termination. Next slide, please. Again, so this is familiar to those of you that have joined bids under RE 12009 or 9184, but there are slight changes, of course. First envelope includes your technical and eligibility documents. So that includes, okay, thank you. So that's a PhilJEP's certificate of registration, platinum membership, the PCAB license, and of course the N registration. The statement of the single largest completed contract with owner's certificate of completion, audited financial statements for the last 3 years stamped received by the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the bid securing declaration in the prescribed form in Section 9, project requirements, organizational chart, list of key personnel with curriculum vitae, list of major equipment with proof of availability, the omnibus sworn statement as indicated there, or if you're forming a joint venture agreement or a notarized undertaking where applicable. So it mixes, anyway, I'll skip there. Then second envelope, financial, it's the bid form, Section 9, duly signed. The price bill quantity, Section 8, every page signed by the authorized representative, and the bid prices are in Philippine peso. So the grounds for outright rejection would be the bids received after the deadline, submission left with lobby guards or unauthorized staff, missing or unsigned bid securing declaration, partial bid or a bid for part of the single lot, failure to acknowledge supplemental bid bulletins, bid documents fee paid at the submission date. Unpaid, sorry. Next slide. Oh, sorry, just a reminder. So BIR stamp and notarized omnibus apply to national companies only. Foreign companies are under the obligation to present the same document without the obligation of Philippine notarization. All right, so now for securities, insurances, and validity. So bid security, bid securing declaration only, no cash. Bond or guarantee is required or accepted. Substitution of the bid securing declaration is not allowed. It must remain effective for the full 90-day bid validity period. Then for performance security, it's 10% of the contract priced in the forms indicated in Section 30.3 A and B. So performance bonds would not be part of the allowed performance security to be posted within 10 calendar days upon receipt of the notice of award before contract signing. So that's bid validity. So I belabored that point. Extension may be requested in writing before expiry at the part of the procuring entity. Now, for insurances required, it's specified under Section SCC 17.1. The contractor's all risk would cover at least 100% of the contract value. Transport or cargo insurance should cover at least 100% of replacement value in transit. Personal injury and death would be the statutory minimum under Philippine law And third-party liability would be a minimum of 5 million per event. 5 million pesos per event. So advance payment is 15% of the contract price in one lump sum against a letter of request and a special bank guarantee from a universal or commercial bank. And retention money is 10% of each progress payment until 50% of the works is complete, leasable on final acceptance and substitutable by letter of credit, bank guarantee, or surety bond on demand. Okay, so how bids will be evaluated is no different on how we usually do it. So it's opening. The technical and financial envelopes are open on the same day. So that's scheduled on September 1 at 10 a.m. The preliminary examination is a non-discretionary pass or fail check of eligibility and technical documents. Then we do a detailed evaluation where arithmetical correction is applied. Bids are ranked to identify the lowest calculated bid. Then we undergo post-qualification, and this is where the LCB submits supporting documents, the cost breakdown structure within 5 calendar days, verification within, and for the cost breakdown sheet, I believe that's 12 calendar days, but I have to double check. Then for the award, back resolution, hope approval within 10 days, notice of award, then contract, then entry. What is and is not evaluated? So it's stated under BDS 25.5B. So that's partial bids, bid discounts, alternative bids are not permitted. There's no domestic preference and no rated technical score. Responsiveness is pass or fail. Where bids often fail, so we've put this here as a reminder to our prospective bidders. So the missing owner certificate of completion, the AFS is not stamped by the Bureau of Internal Revenue, incomplete key personnel CVs, unpriced bill of quantities items, unsigned bill of quantities pages, and failure to acknowledge the supplemental bid bulletins. So this outlines the high-level bill of quantities. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first one would be the telecom shelter, so that's 37 sets. The cable entrance facilities would be 35 sets. Then you have the spares as enumerated here. Then you have services as a lot: design, hauling, installation, commissioning, testing, integration, and warranty. And it shall be part of your bids. However, I also refer you to section 35.3 on what a work item means, and sections 35.5 to 35.9 on the requirement for cost breakdown sheet for the lowest calculated bid. So that also includes sections 35.14 and to 18 of the SCC. So please be wary of that, and that's part of the requirements prior to award. Okay, pricing rules. Pricing rules that decide responsiveness. Prices are inclusive of labor, materials, plant, temporary works, overheads, profit, and all taxes and duties. An item left blank, zeroed, or dash is treated under ITB 13.2 and GCC 9.5. Every page must be signed by the authorized representative. That's under ITB 17.3. And the total carry to the financial bid form. Now for contract terms and payment, so the contract term or the time would be 365 calendar days from NTP, so that's a year. Program of work due within 10 calendar days of the notice of award, updated every 30 calendar days. 1% of the next payment certificate is withheld for late updates. The detailed engineering plans within 90 calendar days of the NTP. Payment milestones are indicated in section 6, paragraph 10. So that's 15% advance payment, mobilization requestable within 30 days of NTP, of course, subject to documentary requirements. First billing is up to 60% on approval of the work plan, work engineering design, testing and commissioning plans, and completion of pre-delivery inspection. So this is stated in section 6 of paragraph 10. Progress billings thereafter are on a percentage of actual completion. So warranty and defects, a minimum 2 years for all passive and silver works from issuance of the final acceptance and completion certificate. Structural defects and failures, 2 years from final acceptance. And manufacturer, the manufacturer's longer warranty is transferred to the end user. Okay. Delay in suspension of termination. So liquidated damage is 1% of the value of work not completed. Extension of time, unworkable days. So we've outlined this also in the SEC. So I invite you to look through those, and that's where we'll compute the days. Negative slippage of 15%. Disputes referred to the Construction Industry Arbitration Commission. Then for environmental and social obligations, these are stated under Section 6 of the bidding document, CESMP, for approval within 28 days of the commencement date before any physical work operationalizing the MSIPs committed to the bid. Compliance with the World Bank's this requirement for compliance with the World Bank's Environment and Social Framework, the project ESCP, ESMF, SEP, and LMP, and the World Bank as EHS guidelines. So if you can look through the required personnel, there's also a dedicated ES officer and SEASH social focal point. So there should also be a grievance redress mechanism for workers and communities. So that, of course, includes no child labor, forced labor, including those suppliers. SEA, sexual exploitation and abuse, sexual harassment conduct is a ground for removal of personnel. Now, for clarifications and questions, how to submit a clarification, it's in writing to the back secretariat by email or hard copy at least 10 calendar days before the deadline of the submission of bids. So currently it's at August 22. This is the address. So it's the ICT, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Back Secretariat, 19th floor, the ICT Headquarters, Studio 7, 807 EDSA, Diliman, QC 1103. And this would be our email address and our trunk line. How it will be answered, it's going to be by supplemental bid bulletin signed by the back chairperson, issued to all who have properly secured the bidding documents at least 7 calendar days before the deadline. The bulletins would also be posted on the DICT and PhilJEP's website. All right, the bidders must acknowledge receipt of every bulletin with their bid. So the back may also issue bulletins on its own initiative. So last rejoinder, before you ask, check the BDS first. It amends the ITB, and the SCC amends the GCC. Most apparent conflicts are resolved there. Do not wait. The clarification window closes at 4 p.m., 10 calendar days before submission. Late requests cannot be answered via bulletin. Sorry. Be specific. Cite the section clause of the BOQ item number. Generic questions delay the answer for everybody. Right? I think that's the last slide. So again, a reminder, the bids are due on September 1, 10 a.m. Manila time. And it's manual submission only to authorized back secretariat personnel at the 19th floor of the DICT headquarters. Late bids will not be accepted. The bidding documents fee is 10,000 prior to bid submission and must be no later than the deadline for the submission of bids. So reminder where to watch for bulletins. That's the DICT website, MPhilJEPs, until 7 days before the deadline.
Thank you po, Mr. Allison. That's all po for the presentation of the back secretariat. Madam Chair, next will be the presentation of technical specifications. Before we proceed, may we confirm the prospective bidders if they have thoroughly reviewed the bidding documents, particularly the technical specifications posted on the modernized PhilJEPs and the ICT websites.
Hi, in the case of Indra Philippines, yes, we've read it. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. For the other bidders po, may we get the confirmation? So hearing no objection or further manifestations, it appears that all bidders have reviewed the posted bidding documents. Hearing the confirmation, may we request the guidance of the SBAC members on dispensing with the reading of the technical specifications and proceed directly to the clarifications or questions from the prospective bidders if there's any.
Madam Chair, motion to dispense with the reading of the technical specifications and go directly to the question and answer part.
Thank you.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Please proceed, Baksek.
Okay po, thank you so much po. To our prospective bidders, you may now raise your questions or clarifications. Kindly state your name and the company you are representing po. And we reiterate that responses conveyed through this conference does not bind the agency nor amends the bidding documents. Only a written SBB amends the bidding documents. So thank you po. You may now raise your question po or clarifications. Again po, for our prospective bidders, you may now raise your questions or clarifications. Thank you.
Hi, this is Ronnie from Indra Philippines. In our case, no question at this time. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. Hearing none, Madam Chair, it seems that the prospective bidders does not have questions or clarifications po.
Oh, somebody raised their hand.
Yes po, Madam Chair. Mr. Manolupito, yes po.
Yes, Madam Chair, good morning. Regarding on the telecom shelter, may we know, ma'am, because I know this has been a concern prior to this Revit during the NBP 4.5 also. Previously, we requested the distance, the approximate distance of the location of the telecom shelter to the CEF of NGCP or node.
May we refer the question po to the technical team, please?
Good morning. Okay, so for the distance between NGCP and the telecom shelter, we will answer you through SBB. So we could locate each site. So we can address each locations for 37 telecom shelters.
Okay, so thank you, sir, because this has been a request from the start from our end and the other bidders, but since then we haven't received any information regarding the distance of the telecom shelter.
Thank you po, Sir Manolito, for your question or query po. May we request also to put that in writing po and send that to the official email of BAC.
Noted, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am Venus, you're raising your hand po.
Yes, good morning po. This is to address po yung questions. We have for the phase 1, 2, and 3, we have an average distance of 300 meters. I believe it was stated in our terms of reference. For purposes of computation of the distance, we have indicated in the terms of reference our average distance on our previous projects, 300 meters. But this will be subject to the actual survey of the winning bidder.
Yes, ma'am. That's our concern, Ms. Venus, from the start. No, if you were gonna use the average, it will have a, for example, if greater than 300 of the distance, this will have a big impact in our calculations of amount. So that's the reason why, Ms. Venus, that from the start, we are requesting if we could have the distance per site.
The actual distance will be conducted through survey first po, Mr. Mon. So yan po yung ginawa doon sa phase 1 to phase 1 to 3 namin. Nag-conduct sila ng survey, but of course the proposal, they have the strategies na nila, so wala naman kami naging problema sa naging result ng.
So meaning, Ms. Venus, the bidders are allowed to
No.
So how can we know the distance, ma'am?
Kaya nga nagbigay ako ng average eh. So it's up to you to add sa factor sa computation yung 300 na yung average namin sa mga projects namin. We will discuss this with the technical working group kung how we can address this on the SBB. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, because this has been the concern from the start. Thank you.
So thank you po, Sir Manolito and Ma'am Venus. Any questions or clarifications pa po? Yes po, Sir John.
Good morning po. This is John from Songil, Philippines po. Just would like to have a clarification regarding on the presentation earlier for the AFS. It was multiple times mentioned that it needed a BIR stamp. Is it also acceptable for the BIR submitted online, as BIR now implementing submission of AFS and taxes through online po? Thank you.
Okay po. May we refer the question po to the Senior Procurement Specialist, Sir Allison.
Thank you for that question. So if you can put that in writing, so we can answer it formally. I'll have to check because I don't have the answer at this moment.
Madam Chair, if I may po, this is Carla.
Yes, please, Carl.
Yes po, since the BIR also allows the submission through electronic filing of the AFS, we consider the submission of that provided that the bidder also includes in its submission the proof of electronic filing. And as mentioned by Sir Allison earlier, kindly still put that in writing so that we can respond through the bid bulletin po.
Thank you po, Ma'am Carla and Sir Allison. Any question or clarifications pa po? So since there are no other clarifications from the prospective bidders, thank you so much po for all the clarifications. It will be reflected in the supplemented bid bulletin that will be issued by the BAC Secretariat. We will now present the final reminders to our prospective bidders.
For our final reminders po, again, the clarifications and questions must be submitted in writing to the BAC Secretariat by email or hard copy at least 10 days before the deadline for submission of bids. So the address po is provided in the slides, and the email po again is bac.secretariat@dict.gov.ph. and how it will be answered by supplemental bid bulletin signed by the back chairperson, issued to all who have properly secured the bidding documents at least 7 calendar days po. Bid bulletins are also posted on the ICT and MJEPs, and bidders must acknowledge receipt of every bulletin with their bid.
Thank you po, Ma'am Jen. So, Madam Chair, that's all po from the part of the back secretariat. You may now suspend this meeting po, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So may I ask for a motion for the adjournment of our meeting?
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Director Gino. Any second, please?
Second the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Redil. Okay, meeting adjourned. So thank you for all the bidders and TWGs and everyone who attended. Thank you.
Salamat po. Salamat
Thank
po. Thank
you.
you.
Bye.